All right, let's dive in. Your anaerobic threshold, often called lactate threshold, is a critical point in your exercise intensity. Think of it as an invisible line. When you cross it, things get tough very quickly. Your body starts to produce lactic acid faster than it can clear it, and this buildup is what causes that burning sensation in your muscles. Understanding your anaerobic threshold is the first step to improving your cycling performance, as it impacts how hard you can ride for extended periods. We want to push this threshold higher. So, what exactly happens physiologically at your anaerobic threshold? As you pedal harder, your muscles demand more energy. Initially, your body uses oxygen to produce this energy aerobically, which is efficient and sustainable. However, as intensity increases, your aerobic system can't keep up with the demand. Your body then increasingly relies on anaerobic metabolism. This anaerobic process produces energy quickly but also creates lactate as a byproduct. Your anaerobic threshold is the highest intensity at which lactate production and clearance are balanced. Riding above it means rapid lactate accumulation. This threshold is not a fixed point for everyone. It varies greatly between individuals. Untrained cyclists might reach their anaerobic threshold at a lower percentage of their maximum heart rate. Highly trained endurance athletes, on the other hand, can sustain efforts very close to their maximum for longer. The good news is that your anaerobic threshold is highly trainable. With specific training, you can significantly increase the power output or pace you can hold at your anaerobic threshold. This means you can ride harder for longer before fatigue sets in. This is key for events like a 10-mile time trial. Knowing your anaerobic threshold helps you define your training zones accurately, allowing for much more precise and effective training. Instead of just riding hard, you can target the specific physiological systems that will improve your anaerobic threshold. This concept is often linked with functional threshold power, or FTP. FTP is the highest power you can sustain for about an hour. It's a practical way to estimate your anaerobic threshold in the field using a power meter. Pushing this number up is a primary goal for serious cyclists aiming to improve. The 10-mile time trial is often called the race of truth. It's you against the clock with nowhere to hide. Your performance in such an event is heavily dictated by your anaerobic threshold. Why? Because a 10-mile time trial is typically completed at an intensity very close to your anaerobic threshold. You need to sustain a high power output for around 20 to 30 minutes, depending on your ability. If your anaerobic threshold is low, you'll be forced to ride at a slower pace to avoid premature exhaustion. A higher anaerobic threshold allows you to sustain a higher power output. Think of your anaerobic threshold as the ceiling for your sustainable pace. If you try to ride significantly above it for too long in a 10-mile race, you'll accumulate lactate rapidly. This leads to that familiar leg burn, increased breathing rate, and a forced reduction in power. You essentially blow up. By raising your anaerobic threshold, you effectively raise this performance ceiling. This means you can push harder, maintain a faster speed, and ultimately achieve a better time. Every cyclist wants to go faster, and improving anaerobic threshold is a direct route to that goal. Furthermore, a higher anaerobic threshold also improves your recovery from short, hard efforts. Even in a steady-state effort like a time trial, there might be small undulations in terrain or wind. Being able to briefly go over your threshold and recover quickly is beneficial. If your anaerobic threshold is higher, these short bursts will feel less taxing. Your body becomes more efficient at clearing lactate even when you're working hard. This efficiency is crucial for maintaining a consistent high effort throughout the entire 10-mile distance, not just parts of it. For competitive cyclists, especially in time trials, anaerobic threshold is arguably the single most important physiological determinant of success. While factors like aerodynamics and pacing strategy play a role, your raw, sustainable power at threshold is paramount. A cyclist with a higher anaerobic threshold will almost always outperform a cyclist with a lower anaerobic threshold, assuming other factors are relatively equal. Therefore, focusing a significant portion of your training on improving this metric will yield substantial gains in your 10-mile time trial performance. It's the bedrock of endurance speed. To improve your anaerobic threshold, you first need to know your current level. Testing is essential. It provides a benchmark to measure progress and helps you set accurate training zones. One of the most common field tests for cyclists with a power meter is the 20-minute FTP test. Functional threshold power, or FTP, is a very close estimate of the power you can sustain at your anaerobic threshold. The test involves a thorough warm-up followed by a 20-minute all-out effort. Your average power for these 20 minutes multiplied by 0.95 gives you your FTP. The warm-up for an FTP test is crucial for an accurate result. It should gradually increase in intensity and include a few short, hard efforts to open up your legs and lungs. This prepares your body for the maximal effort required. During the 20-minute test itself, pacing is key. You want to produce the highest average power possible. Starting too hard will lead to a drop-off in power. Starting too easy means you might not reach your true potential. Aim for a consistent hard effort that you can just barely maintain for the full duration. Another field testing method involves a ramp test. Many smart trainers and cycling software platforms offer automated ramp tests. In this test, the resistance gradually increases every minute until you can no longer maintain the target power. The software then uses a formula, often based on a percentage of your best 1-minute power at the end, to estimate your FTP. Ramp tests are generally shorter than a 20-minute test. They can be less mentally taxing for some riders. However, they may estimate FTP differently than a 20-minute steady-state effort. Regardless of the method chosen, consistency is important. Use the same test protocol and conditions each time you test. This includes your equipment, time of day, and pre-test nutrition and rest. This consistency ensures that changes in your FTP are due to training adaptations, not testing variability. Test regularly, perhaps every 4 to 6 weeks, to monitor your progress. This allows you to adjust your training zones and continue making improvements. Knowing your numbers is the foundation of effective, power-based training for anaerobic threshold development. While field tests, like the 20-minute FTP test, are practical and accessible, laboratory testing can provide more detailed physiological insights. These tests are typically conducted in a sports science facility and overseen by exercise physiologists. One common lab test is a graded exercise test, or GXT. During a GXT, you ride on a stationary ergometer and the intensity increases in stages. Your heart rate, power output, oxygen consumption, and carbon dioxide production are measured. Blood lactate levels are also often sampled at the end of each stage. From a GXT, several important metrics related to your anaerobic threshold can be determined. Scientists can pinpoint the exact point where blood lactate begins to accumulate significantly. This is often identified as the lactate threshold, or onset of blood lactate accumulation, OBLA. OBLA is typically defined as the exercise intensity at which blood lactate concentration reaches 4 millimoles per liter. Knowing this precise point can be very valuable for tailoring training, as it offers a more direct measure than FTP estimations. Ventilatory threshold, or VT, is another marker often identified during lab tests. As exercise intensity increases, your breathing rate and volume also rise. There are 2 ventilatory thresholds. The first, VT1, often corresponds to the point where lactate begins to rise above baseline. The second, VT2, typically aligns closely with the anaerobic or lactate threshold, LT/OBLA. These are identified by analyzing changes in your breathing patterns and the ratios of oxygen consumed to carbon dioxide produced. This data gives a comprehensive picture of your metabolic response to exercise. Lab testing can also measure your VO2 max, which is your maximum rate of oxygen consumption. While not the same as anaerobic threshold, VO2 max represents your aerobic ceiling. Your anaerobic threshold typically occurs at a percentage of your VO2 max. Knowing both values can help you and your coach understand your physiological profile better. For instance, you might have a high VO2 max, but a relatively low anaerobic threshold, indicating significant room for improvement in your anaerobic threshold through targeted training. Lab tests are more expensive but offer precision and depth. Section 5. Training smarter. Modern at-improvement techniques. Improving your anaerobic threshold requires specific and targeted training. Simply riding more miles is not enough. Modern training techniques focus on quality over sheer quantity. The core principle is to spend time riding at or near your current anaerobic threshold. These efforts stress your body in a way that forces it to adapt. These adaptations include increased mitochondrial density, improved lactate clearance capacity, and enhanced capillarization in your muscles. All these changes help you sustain higher power outputs for longer. One of the most effective modern approaches involves structured interval training. These are not random hard efforts. They are precisely controlled work intervals followed by specific recovery periods. For anaerobic threshold development, intervals are typically performed at an intensity ranging from 91 to 105% of your functional threshold power. These are often called threshold or sweet spot intervals. Sweet spot training, typically 88 to 94% of FTP, allows for a greater volume of work near threshold without excessive fatigue. This balance is key for consistent improvement over time. Periodization is another crucial concept in modern anaerobic threshold training. Your training year should be structured into different phases. Each phase has a specific focus. For example, you might start with a base building phase. This phase includes lots of aerobic conditioning. Then you move into a build phase where anaerobic threshold-specific intervals become more prominent. Finally, a peak or race phase fine-tunes your fitness for key events. This systematic approach ensures you are progressively overloading your system. It also helps prevent burnout or overtraining. Using data effectively is also a hallmark of modern training. Power meters, heart rate monitors, and training software provide a wealth of information. Analyzing this data helps you track your progress. It ensures you are hitting the right intensities in your workouts. It also allows you to monitor fatigue and recovery. Tools like training, stress score, and performance management charts help you quantify your training load. This data-driven approach enables smarter training decisions. It helps you optimize your efforts for maximum anaerobic threshold gains. To specifically target and elevate your anaerobic threshold, certain workouts are particularly effective. The classic threshold interval is a cornerstone. These typically involve sustained efforts of 10 to 30 minutes. The intensity should be right around your FTP, or 95 to 105% of your FTP power. A common session might be 2 sets of 20-minute intervals at FTP. The recovery between these long intervals is usually about half the duration of the work interval. These are mentally tough but highly rewarding for AT development. Over-under intervals are another potent workout for improving AT. These intervals involve alternating between segments slightly below your FTP, like 95%, and segments slightly above your FTP, say 105 to 110%. For example, you might ride for 2 minutes at 105% FTP, then 2 minutes at 95% FTP, repeating this cycle for 10 to 15 minutes per interval. This type of workout trains your body to clear lactate more efficiently while working at a high intensity. It simulates the variable demands of racing and helps push your lactate tolerance. Sweet spot training, as mentioned earlier, is also invaluable. While not strictly at threshold, efforts in the sweet spot zone, which is 88 to 94% FTP, allow for longer durations of work. You can accumulate significant time stressing the physiological systems responsible for AT. For example, a workout could be 3 sets of 15 to 20 minutes in the sweet spot zone with short recoveries. This type of training builds a strong aerobic base. It also directly contributes to raising your FTP without the same level of fatigue as pure threshold intervals. Tempo rides, often overlooked, can also support AT development. These are longer, sustained efforts at around 76 to 90% of FTP. While the intensity is lower than threshold, the duration can be much longer, from 30 minutes up to several hours. Extended tempo riding improves muscular endurance and aerobic efficiency. These are foundational elements that support your ability to perform high-intensity threshold work. A well-rounded AT development plan will incorporate a mix of these workout types, tailored to your current fitness and goals. Having the right equipment can significantly enhance your training for anaerobic threshold and your performance in 10-mile time trials. The most crucial piece of equipment for AT-focused training is a power meter. A power meter measures your actual power output in watts. This provides objective, precise data about your effort. It allows you to execute structured workouts accurately. It also enables you to track your FTP changes over time. Without a power meter, You are essentially training blind when it comes to AT development. An accurate heart rate monitor is another valuable tool. While power is the primary metric for intensity, heart rate provides insights into your body's physiological response to that effort. It can indicate fatigue levels or how well you are recovering. For example, if your heart rate is unusually high for a given power output, it might be a sign of insufficient recovery or impending illness. Using heart rate in conjunction with power gives a more complete picture of your training stress and adaptation. This helps in making informed training adjustments. For time trials, specifically aerodynamic equipment makes a huge difference. At the speeds achieved in a 10-mile TT, wind resistance is the biggest force you are fighting. A dedicated time trial bike or an aero setup on a road bike is essential. This includes aero bars, an aerodynamic frame, and deep section wheels. An aero helmet and a tight-fitting skin suit also contribute significantly to reducing drag. Even small improvements in aerodynamics can shave valuable seconds or even minutes off your time. Every watt saved from drag is a watt that can go into speed. Beyond the bike, good quality cycling clothing and nutrition are important. Comfortable bib shorts and jerseys make long training rides more bearable. For 8 workouts and time trials, proper fueling is key. Ensure you are well hydrated and have consumed enough carbohydrates before hard efforts. During longer sweet spot or tempo rides, you may need to take on fuel during the ride. For a 10-mile time trial, pre-race nutrition is critical to ensure your glycogen stores are topped up. This allows you to perform at your best. Improving your 10-mile time trial performance goes beyond just raising your AT. Specific drills can help you translate that fitness into faster times. Pacing drills are critical. A 10-mile TT requires a consistent, hard effort. Practice riding at your target race pace, which will be close to your FTP, for extended periods. Use your power meter to maintain a steady output. Learn how your body feels at this intensity. This will help you avoid going out too hard and fading, or starting too conservatively and leaving energy unused. Aerodynamic position drills are also vital. You can have a high AT, but if your position on the bike is not aerodynamic, you will lose a lot of speed. Spend time riding in your full-time trial setup. Focus on maintaining an aero tuck while still producing good power. This can be challenging, as aero positions often restrict breathing and power production initially. Practice holding your aero position for increasingly longer durations during training rides. This will adapt your body and improve your comfort and efficiency in the TT position. Cornering and turnaround drills are often overlooked for time trials. While many 10-mile courses are straightforward out-and-back routes, they usually involve at least one turnaround. Being able to navigate this turn smoothly and quickly without losing too much momentum can save valuable seconds. Practice your turnaround technique on a quiet road. Focus on your line, braking points, and acceleration out of the turn. Smoothness is key. A panicked or clumsy turn can cost you more time than you realize. Mental preparation drills are just as important as physical ones. Visualize your race, mentally rehearse your pacing strategy, how you will handle discomfort, and how you will push through tough moments. Positive self-talk can be a powerful tool during a painful time trial effort. Practice focusing your attention and blocking out distractions. The ability to suffer and stay mentally strong is a hallmark of a good time trialist. Training your mind to embrace the challenge will help you extract every ounce of your physical potential on race day. The benefits of improving your anaerobic threshold extend far beyond just crushing your next 10-mile time trial. A higher AT fundamentally changes your capabilities as a cyclist across many disciplines. It means you can sustain harder efforts for longer periods. This is beneficial not only in time trials but also in road races, criteriums, grand fondos, and even challenging group rides. You will find yourself feeling stronger on climbs. You will be able to stay with faster groups more comfortably. A higher AT also translates to improved recovery. When your body becomes more efficient at processing lactate and withstanding higher intensities, it also recovers more quickly from hard efforts. This means you can handle more training volume and intensity without overreaching. You will bounce back faster between tough workouts. This allows for more consistent training, which in turn leads to further fitness gains. Faster recovery is a significant advantage for any cyclist looking to make continuous progress in their performance. Furthermore, raising your anaerobic threshold often leads to an increase in your overall enjoyment of cycling. When you are fitter, rides that once felt arduously difficult become more manageable or even enjoyable. You can explore more challenging routes. You can keep up with stronger friends. This sense of accomplishment and improved capability can significantly boost your motivation to ride and train. Cycling becomes less about just surviving the effort and more about thriving and pushing your own boundaries. This enhanced enjoyment contributes to long-term adherence to the sport. Ultimately, a higher anaerobic threshold is a marker of enhanced metabolic fitness. The training undertaken to improve AT brings about positive physiological adaptations throughout your body. These include improved cardiovascular function, greater muscular efficiency, and better energy utilization. These adaptations contribute not only to better cycling performance, but also to overall health and well-being. Investing the time and effort to boost your AT is an investment in your athletic potential and your long-term health as an active individual. It makes every ride better.